In my hand right now is what you will know as the Galaxy Fold 8. Should have been called the Wide. They just called it the 8, which is a little bit of a confusion point because now they have the Fold 8 Ultra, which is the same shape as the 7 and all the previous ones before that. So I just don't know what Samsung are going to do when they bring a Ultra version of this. I'm guessing they're going to call it Pro. I've been using the Fold 8 for just over a week now, and I want to share with you what my thoughts and opinions are about this. Now, there's many things I really love about this, and there are a few things that I think Samsung need to kind of iron out, a few creases here and there. And some things that I'm thinking that when this comes to the Fold 9 and they bring out an Ultra, they might add a few more things to this as well. So first things first, let's look at this aspect ratio. Now, this is something brand new in a sense because we've kind of seen this type of shape before in something like the BlackBerry of the past. And when you do pull up the keyboard, it does have that kind of familiar BlackBerry feeling. Now, some of you out there might not even know what I'm talking about because you probably never touched a BlackBerry device. But for the older folks in here, not to knock you, but you know what I'm talking about. Now, the outer screen is a 5.3-inch display with a 16:10 aspect ratio, and the inner screen is a 7.6-inch display, which is a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is really good because when you're consuming content like this, you're not seeing too many black borders, and you can actually pinch in and not lose too much of the sides neither. From a media consumption standpoint, this is a win, not just for the videos, but also when you're typing, doing text, looking at Instagram or any social feeds. I think it looks really good on its aspect ratio, but there are a few apps that don't really fill up the space, but I'm sure at some point Samsung will release some updates to enable these apps to fit a little bit better. There are some settings right here, but more so for the inner screen rather than the outer, which allow you to fill the screen, but we'll talk about it in the display a little bit later on. Now, comparing this to something that I've been using over the last 2 years, which is the Fold 6. Now, I'm a geek, but I don't update my phone every year. I feel like every 2 years is a good time to do it because there is enough innovation during that time, which will enable me to get more value. So I skipped the 7, and instead of getting the Fold 8 Ultra, which is this shape, I went with the Fold 8. Now, looking at these two side by side, they are two Fold devices, but two totally different types of feel and experiences. Now, personally, I've had a few gripes with this shape of phone, more so because it's very long. Using this device, trying to get to the top of the screen sometimes, is a bit of a reach, but you can get your hands around it because I have fairly big hands as it is. So I can still grip it and just move up to the top of the screen. Now, when it comes to the Fold 8, it's a little bit different because reaching to the top is a lot easier, but at the same time, reaching to one side to the next, you are stretching out a little bit more. So that is something to think about. So back to what I'm thinking about these two phones. This is more of a work orientated phone, and this is more of a media consumption device. But there's so much that you can do with the Fold 8. I would suggest don't discount this at all. So what Samsung have done this year is bring the Flex titanium display, which is on the inner side, which has enabled them to decrease the crease inside. Now, the crease is nothing that I've really had a problem with in the past. Sometimes I will see it, but I think it's a bigger issue than people actually make it out to be. So going back and looking at my Fold 6 display, that crease, you can see when it's dark, but once the screen pops on, you're not really going to be seeing this crease at all. Now, when it comes to the Fold 8 and 8 Ultra, they have reduced the crease on it. I think at this stage, people have made a way bigger deal about this than needed. So we got the Snapdragon Elite Gen 5 in this new device. Coming from the Fold 6, unless you're a person that likes to game a lot, I would say you're not really going to see that much difference in its performance. The 6 performed very well, and the 8 is going to do the same. The variant I got was the 512 and has 12 gigabytes of RAM. I think 512 is the sweet spot. Now, when it comes to the build and the thinness of this phone, it is very, very interesting how Samsung have been able to get this thin. Coming from the Fold 6, which was thin enough, side by side, looking at these two, I think it's just amazing nowadays how these companies can get a screen in the front, a fully foldable screen inside, and the batteries and all the other components into something that's so thin that when you fold it in half, it's as thick as probably like an iPhone. I don't think it's that much thicker than the iPhone. Now, would I prefer this to be a little bit thicker for more battery life? I would probably say,
yeah, baby.
Now, as we're talking about battery life, inside is a 4800 milliamp hour battery with 45 watts fast charging, and also this year with 20 watts wireless charging in this little phone here, which is gonna last you all day. Now I can start with a fully charged phone in the morning, and by the end of the evening, I'm still having enough juice to get me through the rest of the day. Now, when it comes to cameras, and this is the big sticking point right now, everybody's talking about the fact that we do not have a zoom lens on here. We've got a wide, we've got ultra wide, but no zoom lens. Now, if you're a person that uses a zoom lens quite a lot and you are gonna miss that, then you're gonna have to go to the Fold 8 Ultra. Now, I have seen how well these zoom lens can be in certain situations and the benefits that you're gonna get from it. Unless you're gonna use it all the time, I wouldn't worry so much about having that zoom lens. The new Galaxy AI software updates are already installed on this. My Fan Cam, which I think is kind of cool because you can track a particular subject within a scene and it will record and save just that particular subject. Samsung are providing all these new pieces of AI technology which you can use at your own disposal. You're getting One UI 9 on Android 17. As I said, previous phones will get those updates as well, but you're getting it straight out of the box. And they're giving you 7 years worth of updates. So you're always gonna have your security updates over that period of time. Will you get the UIs over that time? Maybe not. Now, another thing to add about the cover screen is that you've got 15% more brightness than the Fold 7. And so far, I haven't had any issues in actually viewing anything outside. So I've told you about all the good things that you're gonna get on this device and a couple of things that are missing, but let me add a few more bits that you are going to be missing on the Fold 8 compared to the Fold 8 Ultra. And other than the camera, the next thing is no S Pen support. So the Fold 6 and the 7 had S Pen support, not for the external screen, but for the inner panel. Now with the Fold 6, you can actually see it works with the panel, but as I said, we have lost that ability with the Fold 8. Now, I think it's a pity that they haven't added it to this device, especially at this price point. Now, I'm assuming because they're using the new titanium behind the inner screen is the reason why they're not able to add that digitizer in. Now, it would have been nice if they didn't add it to the inside, but added it to the outside, especially on this Fold, because it would have felt really like a notepad or notebook that you'd have in your pocket. I think that would have been really cool if they had had that and made space to actually put it in the phone. Now that might come in next year's device or the year after. I'm hoping it's the year after because I want to hold this for 2 years without feeling like I'm missing out on the S Pen. Next thing up is no flex mode. So flex mode previously enabled you to tilt your phone at certain angles, and then you can control your media, and you would have one part of the screen showing the video and the other one with all the controls. Or if you had another app in, you can use a button for the keyboard and the top screen for the video or the page that you're typing to. Now, in and around the same topic, the flex mode is related to how far you can actually unfold this before it snaps into place. Previously, you could fold it and it would, almost stay in line with whatever degree you had it in. Moving to the Fold 8, they've made it so it's more of a flicking action, so you get that completeness at the end of it. The downside to that is anywhere past 90 degrees, it is going to almost, there you go, it flicks forward. But then on the other side of it, when you fold it past that 90 degrees and you're going into 45-degree angle, it will stiffen up. So you can still consume your media using the tent mode. You could do that with the Fold 6 as well, but the aspect ratio wouldn't make it that great, because if you compare that Fold 6 display to the Fold 8 display, it's on a whole different landscape. Now, due to the wider screen, now we can have 3 side-by-side apps. Previously on the Fold 6 and 7, and I think on the 8, you can only have 2 side-by-side and then maybe have another one as a square. So opening it up right now, we have Notes on one side and YouTube on another side. If I wanted to have 3 apps in a row, all I have to do is bring it up, hold on to the app, pull it across, and now I've got Notes, YouTube, and Google Chrome in here. So I could be searching for things by watching the video and then putting some notes in there. We can change things around, we can swap that. If I wanted to say, for instance, I'm watching a video and I want to grab this information, I could easily press and hold, drag it over here and drop it. And now it's pasted in here. So I have that information about this particular video as I'm watching it. and I can also be doing whatever I need to do on the other app on the other side. So multitasking is a beast on this. So if you are getting the Fold 8, understand that you are only getting two 50 megapixel cameras. To be honest, 50 megapixels I think is way more than enough, unless you want to be cropping and zooming in to a picture that you've taken already. That's when you're going to see degradation in the image, but you know, for most people, I don't think you're going to have that problem. Now with the Fold Ultra, it's going to be slightly thinner by I think 1 or 2 millimeters, but at the same time, the Ultra is going to be a heavier device. You are going to get a bigger battery. Is that going to make a difference in terms of screen time because you have a bigger screen? Personally, don't feel like you're going to see that much of a difference. Probably if you're doing some benchmarking that you will see, but on a day-to-day uses, I don't think there's anything to worry about. If the Ultra is what you need for all the things that it does add, then get that. But if you want something new and fresh, definitely pick up the Fold 8. Well, I gotta say, this is personally my device of 2026, and there's so much that you can do with it. The Ultra is a great device, but if you want something new and you want a device that has that wow factor and has people asking you about like, what is that in your hand, which you still get with the Fold Ultra anyway, but this is something totally new that they've never seen before, then I would definitely go with the Fold 8 and not the Ultra for 2026. So if you have any questions about using this on a day-to-day basis, please leave a question in the comments and I will get back to you. And stay tuned to the channel because this is not the first or the last video about the Fold 8 that I'll be bringing to you. Stay safe. Peace.